Hey guys, what's up? My name is Alex and this is my cooking channel, Fantasy Food. So, I know there are millions of YouTube channels and thousands of them are cooking shows, but just because there's a lot of other people doing it doesn't mean that I can't do something that brings me joy and will hopefully bring you joy. So, that's why I'm here. Now, also, I'm just going to come right out and say it, while I have taken some training, I'm still very much an amateur. So, a lot of the stuff that I'm doing today, or even in the future, is going to be stuff that hopefully any of you can do with me, and I encourage you to do it. But I do hope that as this goes on, both I and you will learn some awesome stuff about cooking. Alright guys, so this is my setup, this is where I'm going to be doing everything, but before I go on, I need to introduce the man behind the camera and, for the time being, my editor. This is Ian. He's also known as nerdcave.exe. If you're a fan of gaming videos like Let's Plays and Call of Duty, that kind of thing, he does all that. So check out his channel, nerdcave.exe. Alright guys, so today we're going to be making what we call a Hobbit's breakfast. So this is going to include a caraway seed cake as well as some scotched eggs. Now, for anybody who doesn't know, caraway seeds are this very specific type of flavor and aroma. The reason I say in case you didn't know is because I'm going to be honest, I didn't know. So I just went and picked these up at the store last night, and I'm not actually sure what they taste like or anything, so I'm going to give them a shot. Oh wow. It's kind of like, it smells like dill. Almost a little minty. It's not bad. I can see how they'd be good in a cake. Alright, let's get started. Alright guys, so just so you know, before we got started, we got the oven heating up to 350 and we got the oil heating up to 375 in the fryer. Now, we're going to be starting with the caraway seed cake. First things first, we gotta sift some flour. Now, just so you know, this is a gluten-free flour, like it says right there. The reason for this is because Ian is celiac. Now, if you don't want to make this recipe gluten-free, all you have to do is substitute this for all-purpose regular flour. Now, also, there's a little tip for measuring out flour that Ian's going to show you right now.
Alright guys, so the way most people like to measure their flour is just by getting the scoop and then scooping it out, flattening it off that way. The reason that that's a problem is because flour itself packs down, which means you get more flour than you're actually trying to get, and your cake or cookies or whatever you're making ends up coming out a lot denser than you want. So the way that you want to do this is you want to get typically a wooden spoon and just scoop some flour up and dump it into the cup. This way you're getting 1 cup's worth of flour without having to pack it down and worry about it getting a lot thicker.
Alright guys, so what I'm doing right now is I am sifting 2.5 cups of flour. Now typically to sift, you just want something like this. Now this is an extremely small sifter. But if it is something like this, then you'll just use a fork or a wire whisk just to get the flour down through the mesh. Now what this does is it kind of fluffs it up and it makes it finer so that our cake is going to be a lot fluffier. Alright guys, so this is the flour all sifted. Once again, that's 2.5 cups. Now we are going to add a teaspoon of baking powder and just a pinch of salt. So we're going to get that all measured. Drop it in. Now, a lot of times you'll sift it in with the flour just so it kind of mixes it up, but didn't do that today. And now we're just going to add just a pinch of salt. Alright, now we just want to mix this up a little bit and we are going to go cream some butter. Alright guys, so we're going to cream together the butter and some sugar. So to do that, we just need to soften up the butter a little bit. Now this is 4 ounces of butter. We're just going to throw it in here for about 30 seconds. Alright, so we got that all good. Now, it's a little bit more melted than we were wanting, but it'll be alright. So we're going to bring it back over here and we're going to put it in a new bowl to mix it all up. And then we're going to add our 1/2 cup of sugar. If I can. Alrighty. We're going to cream this all together. Alright, so to cream this, we're just going to throw it in our KitchenAid. It'll make it a lot faster. Just speed up the process. So that is the butter and sugar all mixed together. So now, what we're going to do is we are going to beat 1 egg and add it to this. So That's the fryer popping, if you can hear that. So just one simple egg, crack it, put it in a bowl. Now I'm just gonna take a fork and just whisk it all together. That's what beating an egg is. You don't actually have to punch it. Once that's all done, we are going to add it into the butter. I'll actually grab this fork back. Just mix this all in. Okay, when that's all nice and mixed, we're going to add the classic part of the seed cake, that being 2 teaspoons of caraway seed, the minty, delish stuff. All right. I didn't think it was a lot, but seeing it in here, it's definitely going to add to the flavor. All right. So again, I'll take the fork and just mix this all in. And now, on to the next step. All right, guys, so now we're going to fold our butter and sugar mixture into our flour baking powder. So what folding is instead of just mixing it around, we're actually going to like scoop and fold it itself, hence the name folding. So we're just gonna go ahead and get that going here. Just get it all in here. Doesn't that look lovely? All right. It's actually starting to smell pretty good. So like I said, we're just kind of folding it in here as opposed to stirring it like I would to beat the egg. So this is just going to go on for a little bit. Alright, so I actually got in here and I kneaded it with my hands a little bit just to speed up the mixing process. Now what we're going to do is we're going to gradually add milk until it becomes a thick, creamy batter. Now, we don't want to do any more than 1/2 cup. But it might be less. It's kind of just on a case-by-case basis. Baking can change completely based on your altitude and just a variation of a lot of other things. Alright, so we now have our thick, creamy batter, just like we were saying. Now you'll see I didn't actually use all of the milk. So like I said, it just depends on an individual basis how much you need to use to get it to this state. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take a fairly small cake pan. We're going to take some cooking spray. Now you can use any kind really, but the normal Baker's Joy cooking spray does contain wheat, so we're using this vegetable oil. Alright, so that's all good. What we're going to do is we're just going to pour our nice cake batter. Once we get it in there, we kind of just want to make sure we just flatten it out a bit so it'll cook nice and even. Voila. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take this, go ahead and come around here, and we are going to pop it right into the oven for around 45 minutes. Now we'll want to check on this fairly frequently. I'll get back to you then. Alright guys, so now we got the cake in the oven and we're moving on to the Scotch eggs. Now for those of you who don't know what Scotch eggs, it's a hard-boiled egg surrounded by some sort of meat, typically a pork sausage, and then battered and deep fried, and they're delicious. So first thing, we have to hard boil some eggs. So you're going to get a pot of water. You want 1 to 2 inches of water in there. You're going to take all of your eggs, not all of them. We're just going to drop them in here. Now, don't worry, we are going to cover them up a little bit more. For 8 eggs, which is what we're doing, we're going to want them, they're not very crowded, so we're just going to want to put about another 1/2 to 1 inch of water on top of this. As you can see, we've got some dishes from the cake now. But let's see here. So we're just going to turn this on high heat, and we want this to come to a boil. Alright, so now while the eggs are boiling, what we're going to do is we're going to get some breakfast sausage into a bowl. This is about 1 pound here. We want to add some spices and seasoning to this. So we're going to put about half of a tablespoon, just about that much, of oregano in here. We're going to put about another half teaspoon. Let's see, it's on here somewhere. There we go. Of some rubbed sage. There we go. Oh no, that's alright. Some rubbed sage in there. And then we want just a pinch of thyme. Maybe 2. Okay, now you can hear over here the eggs have come to a full rolling boil. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and turn it off. We want these to sit for about 10 to 12 minutes. They're just going to cool down. Well, not cool down. They're still going to cook in this boiling water, but the water itself is going to cool down. So we've got the timer for the cake set at 25 minutes still. So when that's around 15, we're going to come back to the eggs and see how they're doing. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and finish up with the sausage. So we just got the seasonings in here, and we're just going to, just by hand, just mix this up. It's not a big deal. Just going to get this mixed up, and remember, what we want to do with this is we want to make 8 patties for the 8 eggs that we're making. That the patties will be able to wrap around the egg so that we can then roll that in the flour, egg yolk, and breadcrumbs. So this is looking pretty decently mixed up. Basically just what you want to see is that you don't see any clumps of seasoning anywhere. You can't smell this, but it actually smells amazing right now with all those seasonings mixed about in it. Alright, so we're making the patties for these now. So we just want to take some of the meat, just kind of flatten it out, stretch it out, so that we're going to be able to wrap the egg inside of it. Just flatten them out there. Okay, so we got those patties made. As we go ahead and just sit there for a minute until the eggs are ready. We got about another 5 to 6 minutes on those. What we're going to do is we're going to set these aside, and we're going to prep our frying. So we want 3 bowls. The first one, we're going to fill with just some flour. We'll do some gluten-free once again. The exact amount doesn't really matter. I'm just doing a 1/4 cup in here. It's obviously more than that. And then what we want to do is we want to season this with some salt and pepper. Okay, so yeah, we just want to get that in there, get it a little mixed up, make a little mess. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take some of our remaining eggs. If you're going to do what I'm doing today with the seed cake and the Scotch eggs, you just want to go buy a full dozen. We're going to pop 1 and 2 eggs in here. And then what we want to do is we just want to beat these guys like we did the last ones. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the sausage covered eggs, we're going to dip them in this flour, salt, and pepper mixture, and I'll just give them a nice coating to help them stick together. Then they're going to go into this beaten egg here. Once again, it's going to get them stick together a little bit more and give something for these breadcrumbs to stick to. So these are just your normal gluten-free breadcrumbs. These are actually panko, which is just slightly different from traditional breadcrumbs, but they will work just fine for what we're doing today. So the eggs are all done. They've been sitting for about 10 minutes. So what we're going to do is we're just going to pull them out. I'll use a spatula because that makes sense. They're still a little toasty there. So I'm going to go ahead and pull these out, and then I'm going to make sure I've got everything prepped for afterwards. But Ian is going to show you a quick tip for de-shelling hard-boiled eggs.
Alright guys, so in my experience cooking, shelling hard-boiled eggs can be a lot more tedious than it needs to be. So a little hack that I've found is get just some Tupperware like this. I'm just going to create a watertight seal and just fill it with a little bit of water, not too much. grab one of your hard-boiled eggs, drop it in, go ahead and seal it, and all you want to do is you want to shake it. Nothing too terribly vigorous, but shake it about like this. And what that's going to do is it's going to crack the shell and loosen it up so it'll peel right off without damaging the egg itself. So now we can go ahead and bring this up, and you'll see that this all just comes right off the egg. And it makes it super easy. And it comes out totally clean.
Alright guys, so we're done with the eggs. We got them all nice and peeled. They all look absolutely glorious thanks to Ian's trick. And the timer for the seed cake just went off, so let's go check that. Let's see here. Ooh, it's looking pretty good. Let's get a toothpick right in here. And that's perfect. Smart, Alex is smart. I'm just gonna set that right there. Now we're gonna jump back over to the eggs real quick as we let this cool. Alright, so everything's set up. We're gonna take an egg, put it right in the middle of one of these sausage patties, and just kinda, and it's gonna fall apart a little bit here and there, but overall we're just gonna mush it together. Alright, I'm gonna drop some flour. Like I said, this is gonna help it stick together. You can see already it's just kind of keeping it together nice. I'm gonna drop it in the egg, roll it around a little bit, and then drop it in the breadcrumbs. And that is a glorious, gorgeous Scotch egg ready to be popped in the fryer. Alright guys, this is the last one. Getting it all ready to get fried. I will say though, in doing this, the patties were a little harder to get around the egg than I originally thought they would be. So I would recommend that when you do it on your own, get the patties made as the eggs are hard boiling and then stick them in the fridge. What that's going to do is it's going to cool them down. It's going to make them to where they're a little firmer when you're trying to put the eggs in them. But that is all 8 of our eggs. They're ready to get fried. Alright, so now we are ready to drop these. We're going to go ahead and just pop one in here for now. Just see how it does. Oh yeah, that's what you want. Alright guys, so we just dropped our first Scotch egg out. It's looking pretty good. Should we cut it open? There we go. Nice. Alright, so while those eggs are cooking, we're going to go ahead and flip our seed cake. And well, it fell a little apart at the edge there, but aside from that, that's looking pretty dang good. Alright, I can't help myself, so I'm going to try some of this. Wow, that's delicious. The caraway seeds really add to the flavor of it. As I was making it, I was kind of shocked by just how little caraway seeds were in it, but they really just pack in the flavor.
That was quite possibly the best breakfast I have ever had.
Oh, for sure, it was amazing. Hey guys, thanks for watching. You know, like we just said, it really is one of, if not the best breakfast I've ever had. one quick thing, if you guys don't mind hitting the like button, commenting, subscribing, just doing something, it really means a lot to me. And like I said, I love to cook, so just the ability to do this and share this with you guys was awesome. I highly recommend you try what we did today because
The cake was awesome.
it was absolutely amazing.
Pair it with English breakfast tea or hot cider.
Yeah.
It was amazing. The eggs were great.
Quick note on those eggs though that I want to say real quick. Make sure that the sausage gets done. We made sure that we did, but we didn't. I forgot to say that in the video. You guys just want to make sure that it's not pink, that it's all cooked and everything. I cooked the eggs for about 4 minutes in 355.
350.
In 350. So pretty much aside from that, once again, thank you guys for watching and have a great day.